Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM21 Build a Nation story from Bangor City with me, Daniel. It's part 144 today and we are back for a brand new season, our 16th in charge at the club. And not only that, we've got a lot to look forward to for the nation as we try to build in Europe. It is the first season since we've reached the top 15 of the coefficients, a fifth side in Europe from Wales, and a second in a Champions League qualifying too, and hopefully at least three that should reach the group stages in their respective competitions. We've also got transfers, we've got our own European qualifier and the start to the Welsh Premier League season. So if you're looking forward to all of that and a brand new season in Wales, please do chuck a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM21 content from this story and from some specials over the weekends. And we had our brand new Welsh experiment that started on Sunday at midday. You can find that episode up somewhere in the eye above. But let's start today, as we plan to always, with transfer news. We'll go through the summer transfers, we'll have a look at some of our results, and then we'll start to focus on the nation too. So transfers for us as a club. Loads of offers coming in for players. We've got our usual annual sulk from Kyo Bulkley. This time he wanted to join Liverpool rather than Manchester United. But look at the quality he's got. He's a world-class player. And we just can't do anything about it. We've got to put up with it and just hope we keep him. The very worst happens, he's got 4 years left on his contract. He'll be here till then at least. In terms of ins, I'm umming and ahhing. I really am, because Ahmet Bektas has agreed to join us again. I don't know whether to do it. We need a left back, he could be a superstar. But he's not that standout and he'd be one of the highest paid players. So I've got to think carefully about that one. However, a couple of potential big scouts coming in. Philip Cocu, former Dutch legend, and of course a manager at various clubs in England and at PSV as well. And then also a Greek experienced manager who's got plenty of experience on his CV. So potentially adding a bit to the scouting team there, trying to expand our range so we can get youngsters from all over Europe. And of course the Netherlands would be a better one than any. If we have a look at the things that have already been done though, 3 players coming in so far, a few of them going out as well. There's more to come on that front, I would imagine. Nobody left towards the end of last season, but we've got a few players that have gone out this summer. So loads of youngsters were released on free agent deals. So the ones from this season included Sam Martin, who's a free agent, had played a few games for us, but wanted by TNS and could make inroads there. Guto Ashworth has gone back to Barrytown United. Kai Owen back to Haverfordwest. Sam Evans to Barrytown United as well. I mean, they're just very good players going across the nation. And Maxwell has now finally joined Aberystwyth. So good players across the board. Let's go and have a look at our transfers in and out though. Leo Blake has signed a professional deal and he's gone on loan to Barla for the rest of the season. They're of course in European qualifying action for the first time in this save. Ellis Jones-Evans has gone to Colwyn Bay on loan, as has Michael Liversidge, 2 of the youngsters, and then 2 others that have gone to under-18 sides. They're wingers, basically. They're not going to play for us. They're not good enough for other clubs in the nation. So we've sent them off to England for York and Chester, respectively. Let's focus on the 3 ins, though. Dimitar Nenov is the one we knew about already. Improving in training is not taking him long. He made his debut in the Champions League and he will start the first league game of the season. But what a signing for 3.3 million. An under-19 in a squad for domestic fixtures, 5-star potential, 2.5 ability. And when it gets to that stage that we can't keep Kai McDonald every season, he's the man we're waiting to replace him. What a fantastic young player. And we think he's going to be a star for us. We then had a bit of frustration when it came to centre midfield. I wanted to have a bit of a clear out and get in one first choice player. So Alex Pena is the man who's come in eventually. We did, though, have a couple of other choices that we wanted. So the first one was Aaron Lavery. He was the first realistic target. Rejected us to go to Aberdeen, which shows our reputation is still not quite there. The reason I wanted him is because he suited our tactic better. He could play off the left side of the diamond a bit easier. He worked incredibly hard. He had good technique and physically he was very strong. So even though he didn't have quite as good a personality as Pena, who we've signed, he was the one who was my first choice. And we offered him 10 grand a week as well. So I was a little bit annoyed in truth. The second one, he did reject us, and fairly so may I say, is Sam Hunt. He became available on a free agent deal, an official bona fide wonder kid at 20 years of age. Under 21 international for England, fantastic young player, released by Manchester City. but Chelsea went and nicked him. So fair enough, he's gone there for 20 grand a week, and we miss out on what would have been an absolute superstar. The one we're left with, though, is Alex Pena. Comes in from Burnley on a free. Got a great personality, two-footed. I mean, he suits us down to the ground in every aspect. Other than as a box-to-box midfielder, he's not the most physical. Only 11 for pace, stamina and strength, which does hold him back slightly. Maybe not the best defensively either if we're looking at the big games in Europe. But overall, he's a really good player. He works hard, he's determined, he's good on the ball, and he's going to be a fantastic prospect for us. He's still only 24, he can still improve slightly. And he did well in the first Champions League game he played, so I'm not getting too downhearted by that. We then also brought in Carlton Broadbent. He is a 3-star ability striker with 4-star potential. Plays a little bit differently up front, but is natural as an advanced forward and can play as a poacher as needed. He's electric quick, he's very agile, he's a good finisher. Maybe not quite got that highest level of composure or anticipation, but he's decent enough. And off the bench and as a backup in the league, he's a perfectly adequate 4th choice striker. Now what that means is that we're going to have a bit of an overhaul on the outs. Now I'm trying not to offer people out or put them on the transfer list, because most of the ones I want to get rid of are either wanted or we can put them in the team early doors to get them to that stage. And if we can do that, we'll get bigger money for them. So Patrick Malone is the first of them. He's finally left us to go to Hibernian. 2.3 million up front, rising to potentially 2.9. A solid player, a Northern Irish international, but no longer good enough for our squad. So he moves on with our best wishes, has played for Crusaders, has played for us, and is now playing for Hibs. If he can just get a move to England later in his career, he would have played in every nation of the UK. But a wonderful young player, just didn't quite have enough in the end. And his football, you can see the last 2 years. He was a backup primarily for domestic football, and he only made 11 appearances last year. 4 of those was as a sub, which was even more than last year. And he just didn't really get enough football. So I felt it was unfair to hold on to him. And he was the first of those to move on from this backup team. If we have a look at the first team squad now then as it stands, we've got our first 11 in there which we'll play today. And we've got some decent subs, some of which I want to get football so they can get interest. So Scott McKenzie is probably the man who's going to be sacrificed at centre-half, just so we can give Jennings and Whelan more football. Passier's homegrown at the club, so McKenzie is the man who has to be sacrificed, I'm afraid. Not a natural ball player either, so doesn't really suit our style. And in moving down, Chris Broome is probably going to be one of them, I'm afraid. We'll get him some football to try and get him sold. And then we also look down a bit further. Justin Burrows, we've probably got no need for him anymore. John Price, no longer registered in Europe, but is wanted by a couple of championship clubs, and he would be someone I'd be happy to sell. Now 28, if we can get 1.5, 2 million for him and make a profit on what we bought him for, can't ask for much more than that. Gwyn Morgan we were looking to loan out, but he's not particularly happy with that. I just wanted him out for 1 year until we could get McDonald out. What I'm looking at potentially now though as an alternative, if we can bring Bektas in, have Morgan as the backup left back, and then sell both Matai and Yestem Weaver. Weaver is 29 years of age and declining heavily. And if I look at Matai, he's just not really improved. So even if we loan him out for a year then sell him, I think that could be a good route for us moving forward. So plenty that could be done, but Bangor City in a pretty good position on the pitch. Let's have a look at our schedule for the first couple of games. We played against APOEL after some brilliant pre-season results, including a draw against Bayern Munich. And we beat APOEL 6-2 away from home. So we should win this one pretty comfortably. It was Pena, Gordon, Reyes, 2 for Bulkley and 1 for Tom Jones. And even though we come in around later now, we looked absolutely ruthless from the very start. Did let in a couple of silly goals though, which almost gave them a sniff before our late flurry. So we're going to play the second leg of that one today. Let's also have a look at how the other Welsh sides are getting on. Fingers crossed, there's some good news on the European front. Let's go and take a look. So first things first, we head over to TNS, and we knew they needed to win in the second qualifying round of the Champions League, and they were guaranteed group stage football in at least the Europa Conference. They did it with a very snug victory against the Ukrainian side Vorskla. Second leg 1-0 win, Jason Williams with a second minute goal, and they clung on for 88 minutes to make it all the way through to at least the Europa Conference group stages. They've been battered by Heerenveen in a third qualifier. We would of course expect that. But great news for TNS. 2 years in a row they'll have had group stage football. Let's move on to Swansea Uni, who finished third in the league. They got to the Europa League qualifiers. One tie they can get a victory in this one or the next one if they lose and go into the Europa Conference, and they've got group stage football. However, they're not looking quite so good. They played Cercle Bruges, they lost 2-0 in a home leg, and they're going to need a miracle away in Belgium, or a very lucky draw when they drop into the Europa Conference. The other two are Bala Town, who finished a little bit lower. They got an interesting tie in the third qualifying round of the Europa Conference. They played a professional side from Serbia in Inđija, not a side that are regularly in Europe in this save, and they lost 3-2 on the road but got a couple of away goals. So that could be a very interesting second leg, and I would back them potentially to sneak through there. And then of course it's Barry Town United. They were the side that won the European playoff in a domestic league. They snuck through in the first tie against the Norwegians. A good brace at home for Sean Walters, the big money signing last year from TNS. And then they snuck through on penalties with Walters getting the goal again, the second leg of round 2. So really looking good on that front. They lost 2-1 away at Dinamo in the third qualifier. Unfortunately couldn't cling on after an early away goal, but still potentially in the tie. And regardless of this one, their coefficient will improve yet again. So we're going to go and get into our match in a moment, but the last thing we've got to look at, of course, is the transfer window. We always talk about the Welsh transfers. Are they going to improve in standard? And are we going to see more quality players coming in? So firstly, let's get up to the most recent ones and put them in transfer fee order. Of course, our ones are dominant at the top, but there are some fairly big ones as well. Cian Hughes has gone to Colwyn Bay for £60,000. That's a domestic transfer from Llandudno. But TNS also spending nearly 50 grand on Timo Hagelberg, a Finnish under-21 international in years gone by, and a very good defender from Hartlepool. So TNS paying over £1.5 a week, and as you can see, bringing in players that are ready to compete in the Europa Conference. Colwyn Bay have done the same from Curzon Ashton, a very good attacking midfielder in Jordan Coates, and TNS bringing more in. Luke Hook, a striker, quality player as well. He comes from Ipswich for 10 grand. Kirk Flood not so much, but a good squad player from Accrington Stanley, and a few others, including paid deals for Haverfordwest, who for some reason always seem to spend money. More positives when we go down to the loan deals as well. I know most of these normally happen a bit later in the window, but Tim Owens from Crewe to Colwyn Bay, a good young Welsh right back, and a few others going domestically too. Some of those from us, like Leo Blake, but really making positive signs in the Welsh League. And even free agent deals, there's plenty more quality coming into the league. Cardiff Met Uni have signed Jack Delaney on a free. I mean, look at him. He could get into our squad, and we did look at him briefly as a fourth choice striker. He's that good. But once Cardiff Met Uni were interested, we stepped right away. There's just so many quality players in this league now, and it's really stepping up quite quickly. Cardiff Met Uni are bringing in big players every year. Matthew De Silva, a left back, being another one. If we can get the desired top 5 this year, if we can get Cardiff Met Uni, Barry Town United and TNS in the top 4 with us, then 5th can be a Bala, it can be somebody else. It doesn't really matter. Bala have stayed semi-pro for now. We'll see how many rounds they can get through. But the Welsh transfer window looking good. The players stepping up massively. But it's been a quiet couple of weeks now, so I'm just waiting to see if we'll have a little bit of glitz and glamour towards the end of the window. Because the last couple of weeks been virtually silent in terms of big ins. But with that done, we're going to go and head into our game. Home to APOEL, a brilliant first leg lead. We should be pretty confident. Let's go and look at our lineup for today. As TNS also in action against Heron Vane, I think they're probably done and dusted, unfortunately. But they've done their job. They've reached the European group stages, regardless of the rest of their results. So let's go and get our team out. Let's get rid of our unavailable players. You can already see now, Bulkley and Reyes just standouts in this team by a million miles. And this is the team that we've gone for in this match. Simancas is starting between the sticks with McDonald and Matai the fullbacks, Kelly and Whittaker at centre-half, Lloyd, Reyes, Pena, the new signing, and Bulkley back in that number 10 role, with Walters and Goulding up front. And in fact, actually today, as we've already got through, do we play Tom Jones and just go for our youngsters? Because he is still a good player. Let's do that. Bulkley can drop back. Jones is going to play as the number 10. And that's what we're going to go for this one. Give a few people a rest. I mean, I was tempted to give Bulkley a day off, and I may well still do so. Because in Europe, we're not going to gain much from this. So Bulkley out. Pena's going to play as is Tom Jones. Goulding and Walters up top. That's our lineup for today. Let's see how we get on. So the only change from the first leg as we face a good APOEL side. albeit one that couldn't cope with us, is Tom Jones in for Kyo Bulkley. One former youth intake star, in for the one who overtook him but needs a few rests. And this is going to be a big test for us because they played a narrow diamond in the first game. It was quite difficult. They've now matched up and gone a bit more defensive with two holding midfielders. And although we ran away with it in the end, they did threaten us for a while. But I don't think there's going to be any danger tonight as McDonald gets in down the right side very early doors. Only a minute on the clock. It's going down as an own goal, I think, from McHale. Tom Jones was in there. He wanted his second goal in 2 legs. But unfortunately, it's not accredited to him. But any sniff of a bit of danger tonight is probably gone already. Let's get the latest scores up so we can see what's happening with TNS. Because they're going to need a big miracle tonight. As it's nicked by APOEL early doors, Whittaker heads away as far as Pena. And Reyes goes wide to the left to Matai. He's got an overlap with him. Instead goes back inside to the new man in midfield. To Matai again. Could be one of his last games for the club if Bektas comes in. And he goes back again into the penalty area. Reyes loses out as it's headed to the right. McDonald can cut back for Reyes. Is someone going to take the shot or are we just building a chance up? Into Goulding. There it is. Wait for the perfect opportunity and it's away for 2-0. 8-2 on aggregate. 2-0 on the night. This Bangor City side is making very light work of qualifying. It's been an excellent effort so far. And looking over to the TNS game now as well, even if we can't win it on aggregate TNS, I say we as the nation, it would be great if they could get a win or a draw on the night, because that still adds to the coefficient too. And it's something we want to do more and more. So the more that can happen, the more that other sides can do that, even if they don't reach the group stages, the better for us. Though we've just been done by a straight goal kick there. And this is what I mean about APOEL. They've got a threat on the break. We've had the odd moment where we've switched off still. I mean, I don't know why Simancas is being blamed with that. We were beaten by a straight goal kick over the top. Heronville have taken a lead on the night. It's 5-0 on aggregate there. So TNS have met the match now, I think. As it's back to the edge of the box to Harvey Lloyd for us. Can we get our win on the night? Reyes in. It is awful goalkeeping. Just dribbled down to his right. He got a hand to it, but not enough to do anything with it. 3-1, 9-3 on aggregate. And every shot on target in this game has gone in so far for both sides. TNS 2-0 down on the night as well now. We are 3-1 up and looking comfortable. And I think we've just got a penalty as well. Lloyd Goulding, the man who's going to take it. This is getting oh so easy. And to be honest, could become a bit embarrassing. As Goulding steps up, puts it in for 4. There's 10 on aggregate. We're only 25 minutes in. Well, a very quiet 20 minutes to finish the half, but still a very convincing display. Just annoying we didn't keep the clean sheet. It was such a stupid goal we let in as well. But there are going to be some players that get a chance now, so we've got to be pleased with that. As Goulding gets the ball on the right to Reyes again. Right side of the box, cuts it back to the edge. But he's not able to do anything with it. Comfortably wide and over the bar. And APOEL survive another onslaught. As we've got a corner kick on the left with Harvey Lloyd. In swinging delivery. Headed away at the edge of the box. Now they can counter again here. They're starting to look threatening from this situation. Chiralabus gets down the left wing and is coming towards the penalty box. Crosses into the front post. It's a good block in the end. But this is probably the weakest we've looked at the back for some time. And maybe that's why I think we need Bektas back. He's better going forward, but also he's better getting back because he's got that electric pace, which Matai just doesn't have. And with 5 minutes gone in the second half, it remains 4-1, but a couple of mini little scares there. TNS holding Heronvale at 2-0 too. Very good effort from them so far as well. 25 minutes remaining. Let's go and make a couple of changes. And we'll be back in a minute to see out the last few of this game. As we've got a throw on the left-hand side with Stefan Matai into Broadbent, the new signing. Matai back to Srom. Might well break into the first team this year too, as McDonald gets it right side of the box. Cuts it back to Ludomir Srom. And he gets his first goal of the season too. Kai McDonald picked him out perfectly. Srom rifled it into the bottom corner. It is 5-1 to Bangor City. And it is a very comfortable night in Europe. Ilya heads away another cross as we're continuing to try and press. And can we late on really put gloss on this? Get more and more goals. As McDonald gets in down the right hand side again. 4 in the box but goes back to Reyes. Inside of him is Lloyd but delivers to the back stick. Oh, Broadbent nearly had his moment. Wasn't to be. Disallowed for offside with 2 minutes to go. And it remains just 5-1 on the night. Heronvale have got a 4th against TNS. It's 8-0 on aggregate. Harsh on them, but they've done their job already. Now, we get to enjoy the start of the season. Can we have a big 2 weeks to end the transfer window? Can we have more than 2 sides reaching the group stages? They're the questions I can't wait to find out in the next episode. It could be a really big moment for Welsh football, this. Well, rather surprisingly, we're not playing Young Boys of Switzerland in a Champions playoff. We're playing Dinamo Bucharest, who are a far weaker side. They have got a couple of decent youngsters, as you can see there. Zurich, one of the more experienced ones at 25. But they have also got, say, 22-year-old left-back. Sterian looks a decent player. They've got a 23-year-old goalkeeper who's not disastrous. And they've got some experienced players like Zurich who are pretty good. And in fact, Zurich is out for the next game, so he'll miss the first leg at the very least. It's a decent side, but one we should be beating comfortably at this stage, and I'm pretty sure we will. So that means we can do what we did last year. We can skip through the playoff. We'll be back for the first Champions League or Europa League group stage game of the season. Unless we've got a disaster in Romania, of course. We'll find out how many Welsh sides are joining us in the European group stages. And of course, who goes big towards the end of the Welsh transfer window. If you're looking forward to that and you did enjoy our big start to the season, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Our squad's looking better than ever, but it will gradually reduce now as we try to focus on getting some of the youngsters into the squad. And hopefully some of those other sides can follow us. And if over the next couple of years they can get into Europe, they can get a little bit closer, then Welsh football could well be on the up. If you want to find out how it gets on and whether we continue to progress as a nation, please do subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. We've got plenty of big action to come this year as 5 sides now make it into Europe. And we've also had progression on the coefficient front as well. I'm not going to talk about it in massive detail in this episode, but needless to say, it is going to make a big difference going forward. Because if we have a look at the Nation Club coefficients at the moment, we are knocking on the door of the top 10. And that's where things can really start to take off. So hopefully that's not a million miles away either. But in the meantime, please do follow us on Twitch. The link's up in the eye above. We've got regular football watch along live streams there, as well as our own mini FM Build a Nation series there with Ballymena United in Northern Ireland. Please do also check out the other links in the eye above, including a new Welsh experiment which started on Sunday. That'll run over the next 3 Sundays until the end of August. But a big thanks for watching, following along as always. It is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you next time for a big episode with Bangor City, but even more so for Welsh domestic football.